Alright, it's finally guide time. We're gonna do a nice little starter's guide, so you don't get information overloaded immediately. Just help you get into the game and want to play it. To start, we're gonna go to settings, and go to game. You should turn off enable auto loot. I think it's better to learn without it. And turn off search guide remote drone calling, so you don't accidentally end up buying items you don't need. And in sound, you're gonna want to turn down briefing room sound effects. Trust me, it gets so loud in there. Alright, before starting, you're going to want to go to loadout, pick whatever character you desire to play. I will have a list of which ones I recommend at the end. You're going to go to recommended save plan. If it has multiple weapons, you're going to pick the weapon you want to use. And then it doesn't really matter which one of these you choose until you learn more about the game. But you want to go to the save plan details and make sure they have the skills set so you know what you want to max at least. Once you pick your character, you can see your pathing, you can plan where you want to go. So if I spawn the right side of Valley, I want to run to Temple TP, and if I spawn the left, I'll just walk into gas station. Okay, so you always spawn in what is called a cluster, which is these highlighted boxes around me. You only want to pick up the items with the yellow triangle in the top left corner. And as soon as your search mats on the right over there are all checked off, then you are good to move to your second zone. If you are walking into your second zone, you want to run to a cluster like the one you spawned in. However, if you TP into your second zone, you will spawn into a cluster already. There are unclustered boxes like this one. They have random items from the zone, but a cluster will always have 2 of each item that can spawn the zone in it, as well as a few random items per box. I got lucky, and the uncluster did most of what I needed. For hunting and collecting, they can be found in any zone, so they'll always be on the right until found. In my case, I need leather, so I craft so I'm a higher level and can one-shot the chickens instead of taking 2 or 3 hits to kill them and wasting time. The rocks and sticks are pretty much everywhere, so you'll find them easily no matter what zone you're in. Now you'll want to TP and go to your last zone to finish up your build. As an example of bad luck, this cluster was looted heavily, and as you can see, basically nothing is in here that you would need. Normally it won't be this terrible, but it's very possible. You'll want to go around to all the other clusters, and if they're all heavily looted like that, you want to just buy your missing items. It's much worse to delay your build than to just spend the credits and get it done early, so you can start prepping for night.
Quality control should always be done carefully.
I'd say it's fast to have your build finished by 1:30 left in the day. Ideal to have it done by a minute, but as a new player, you just want to try to have it done before night. Once your build is done, you need food and sometimes drink, depending on the character. It's very important to always have and use food in fights throughout the game. Your transition items for later in the game, do not feel like you need to go find them all right away, but anytime you do have before night, it's good to use to look for them, or to just prep for farming by getting the CCTV since it gives vision and free 5 credits. In most cases, you'll end up finding the transition items you need as you just go through the map and check random boxes you're walking by. As for farming, bears and mean mobs are the best, then wolves and dogs, then boars and chickens. All will improve your weapon mastery, which matters for your weapon skill and your damage scaling. Do be careful though, some characters get beat up pretty bad, like the one I'm playing, so you need to kite the mobs around so they don't beat you up more. A lot of the harder groups of mobs will have this blast plant, which helps kill them early. There are small buffs you can find around the map. They do various things, like red is damage over time, purple is cooldown, this one happens to be move speed. Main thing is you want to make sure you're getting all mobs on the way to whatever objective you want to contest. You can also use the mobs to give you an idea of if there are teams nearby. Like if this bear is dead, you'll see the timer. If it's fresh, you know they're close. Since this tree is close to spawning, it's best to stay near it, get vision, heal up. Try to farm anything you can that is close by without going too far so you keep a good position in case another team comes to contest it. These 3 trees will always be here, but the meteorites are random. On day 2 change, you will get vision of all players, so you can plan where to go, see if anyone is going to come contest you. For transitions, some of them will have it in order of what you want to build first. Others will just be the default weapon, chest, head, arm, shoe. For me, mine's in order, so I'm going to obviously build the very first one. And now since it's day 2, we can see where the battle zones are. I believe it is worth always contesting them, since if your team dies during it, you will still get to respawn. As you can see here, there is a noise ping, so you know another team is most likely going to contest this zone. And as it gets closer to day change, you can see these 2 drones, and this blue one will always be up, while the red one only stays up if there is more than 2 teams. However, if you can't get in position for the blue drone, it is worth it to stay near the red one while it explodes, or in case there is more than 2 teams, as it'll stop this timer, which, if it goes to 0, will pop your head and you'll immediately die. The only 2 ways to stop the timer is that drone exploding, or being in a drone circle without any enemy teammates being there.
Don't look away. I don't. More water. It feels refreshing. Increase water pressure. More water. Let's try it now. It's more water. Increase water pressure. You like water parks?
As you can see here, I only win because the Jackie's timer runs out. Normally there would be a pop-up as well to click the claim rewards as soon as battle zone's over, but customs are buggy. In case this ever does happen in a normal game, there is a manual way to do it. Go over to the CCTV and you can click your rewards. Now, the more players there are in the zone, the better the rewards, and you always want to try to get the best rewards you can if your team can use it, which is Myth Roller Force Core. Here you can see I have 255 credits, which is enough for a tree or meteorite, which tree is my next item, so I want to go spend it at a kiosk. In most cases, it's best to buy when nothing is spawning around you. It's not worth missing out on a tree spawn or a box drop to buy unless you're too weak compared to other teams. Here you would want to head to the tree and box and meteorite, but I'm going to show you what alpha is, since you can sometimes contest alpha after a very quick battle zone. Alpha himself doesn't do too much damage, but it is very easy to get third-partied while doing it. He will always drop a mythical, and you'll know if he's looted or not by the purple beam, which wolves and bears can also have, because they sometimes drop transition items. So if you ever see that, make sure you loot that corpse.
Area where Omega will spawn has been detected.
Now this is Omega. It hurts quite a bit more, and I would really only recommend going for him if your team is strong, and make sure you get CCTV and put words in the bushes around him before even trying to fight it. If you are weak and you still really like fighting, you can try to third party. He will always drop a force core and one of the 3 potion buffs. This moving green girl is Wickline. She is a very strong boss which provides a blood and a random transition / buff pot on death. If you are strong enough to TP right to her, but if you want to be safe like me, I go to the zone below, let the other team trying to take her take some damage first. It is very important to know whichever team gets the killing blow on Wickline will get her buff, and it is a very powerful damage over time buff applied to all damage you do. As for the blood you get from her, this will most likely want to go to your carry since blood items are some of the strongest in the game. However, not every character would want to replace their items with a blood item. Finally, as day 6 draws near, as you can see there's only 2 zones left. And as you can see here, there is a safe zone in front of the CCTV. If there is another team in your zone, you will be forced to stay into the safe zone, or your head pop timer will start ticking, which is the red timer above your character when you're in a restricted zone. Same rules apply like the drone in the battle zone. If there is another team in the box with you, both red timers will tick until one of you dies or leaves. Now, if any team members are dead and there are no other teams in your zone, all of your members will get a free revive, and the middle zone will open and become the new safe zone.
Cooling water? Check. Not bad for a leisure sport. Show you the real thing. How about this? More water. Water pressure. Increase water pressure. More water. Turn a lot.
Winner of this will win the whole game,
Vacation.
and as you can see, some character matchups are very hard to beat without a team. And to end off with, here's my recommendation for characters you should try starting with. They're all fairly easy, hopefully you'll enjoy some of them. And I appreciate all of you so much for watching this guide. I hope it helps some of you. I hope you understand the game better. I'll be making more advanced ones at some point. I don't know how soon, because this was quite hard for me. But I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.